Hi, I'm Raj from the Department of Biomedical Science, Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences. So I'm going to share with you some approaches of my teaching and learning journey. So one of the courses that I would like to share my experience with you is molecular toxicology. So basically what is molecular toxicology? Well, this subject is being taught to year 4 biomedical science undergraduate students. So the learning outcome of this course is basically to understand what is molecular toxicology, which is the study of the toxicity of chemicals, drugs, medicines and compound, and how it causes diseases, right? And thereafter, students have to identify and interpret all the approaches, laboratory approaches basically, whether it be molecular biology, pharmacology and toxicology in addressing those diseases and chemicals, right? So the challenge of this course, and basically with almost all biomedical and health sciences courses, is that they are highly contextualized and jargon heavy. Therefore, student tends to depend on memorization and factual recalling. So basically, the first thing I did was ask my student, how do you best learn? And the input was, they want to learn through visualization, games, video, talking to each other, communication, reading, and basically teamwork. So by taking that into consideration and also aligning my thought processes with the 4 C's of the 21st century education, which are collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and creativity, as well as the Malaysian Higher Education Blueprint 2015-25, shift number 9 that says that we want to create globalized learners. Taking all this into consideration, I've came up with the gamification and game-based learning enhanced by e-learning technologies. So basically, once I have all done that, this is one of the products of many games boards that I have, which is called this Conqueror game. Basically, this Conqueror game is to explain all about the drug toxicity and how the body reacts to the drug. So basically what happens here is students will play some sort of like a Minecraft, right? So this is a Conquer game. So to start, what we do is I usually give students a call card here, and it explains all the steps and how to play the game basically, so they can be divided into individuals or group depending on the numbers, right? And then you have to read through all this information on how to play. So basically the game is each group or player will be given a flag, and the question is within a set given of time they have to try to conquer as much as possible of the board game here. How so? Well, basically, let's say I want to conquer, I love this yellow color here, and I want to conquer this region here, right? So what I have to do is I have to answer some questions, and this question comes in the form of stacks, right? I use playing cards as stacks, and we have questions here, so students can roughly pick one and try to answer. So what happens is in this game we will have one referee, and this referee would have all the answers to all these questions here. So once you got it correctly, then righty-ho, you come and conquer this region, right? And then if you want to counter-attack, you have to answer 2 questions. And if you manage to answer 2 questions, you can pull this enemy's flag out and conquer with your own flag. So you're expanding your empire. So within a given time, if they are able to answer all the questions and conquer, the most person conquer the largest region is declared the winner. So once you have the winner, you have a QR code whereby you put the points and it will be tabulated in the leader scoreboard. Okay, so this is how basically this game is. Alright, and also I have another game which uses augmented reality. So this module is known as Who Kills Me. Is basically, okay, it's basically an environmental toxicology subject. So if you look inside here, it's the same thing. you have cue cards, okay, all these cue cards here, and then of course you have the leaflet to explain of how you play the game, okay. So basically what happens is, it's almost similar here. Here you have a character. So the environmental issues that we're talking about is plastics, okay, and the microplastics in the ocean. So what happens here is, if you look at this cue card code, there will be instruction of you, there will be instruction to explain, please use Aurasma or any other modules to look for the augmented reality information. So when people scan here, there will be an augmented reality which will explains the scenario, and also around the class we have clues hidden whereby they have to use the app for the augmented reality to find clues to answer the question. So basically is, there are few people here, and who is responsible to pollute the environment they are staying with plastic. So this is one of the other games that I have. Basically, I have about 7 board games with different levels and different subject topics, okay. So what happens here would be is, I have already designed a lot of board games for the students. How about for the educators? Well, while doing so, I have come up with a book which is the Gamification in Toxicology, whereby it covers topics of toxicology and molecular toxicology, which is can be used by educators. So what happens here is, basically it's all about games, okay. So if you look around here, we have 7 different topics and 5 different topics and 15 different activities here, okay. And what happens here is, in these activities, everything is about games. So we will guide the educators on what kind of learning objectives you can achieve from what specific games, and how you carry out the games. So in terms of how long it will take, how many people can play, where it should be played, and how is the setup. So this will be all the setup and what are the materials needed for your activity. So basically I have covered 5 major topics of toxicology and molecular toxicology with 15 over activities. This is a module for educators. But rest assured, in doing so, I'm not denying it takes a lot of time, and all the blood, sweat and tears are very, very worthwhile, because when you see the twinkle in the eye, the smile, the appreciation they have for you, right, it makes it all worth it. Okay, on a really important note, right, I have seen that by doing this kind of activities, right, we have introduced e-learning technologies plus augmented reality. It helps students, and students are very engaged, as well as, okay, it creates a very interactive learning environment and experiences. Okay, and also what I have seen basically is, without knowing, right, I have seen that they are effective peer-to-peer learning, means students between themselves they learn, and this is known as pedagogy, and they create these new knowledges and they share among themselves. All right, so tips for future educators, or tips for the wannabes who wants to try gamification, right? Basically, I'll just say, just go for it, have fun. But remember, you have to start slow and start small. And the most important question is, you have to understand the needs of your students, and you have to have a very clear and precise learning objectives. Okay, so this is how it is. Then, most important thing is, what makes me going is my motto in teaching and learning, which is step out of the ordinary, be extraordinary, and achieve the glory. So before I end, I would like to remind that in whatever we do, please inculcate ihsan in our teaching. Thank you very much.